You are watching our continuing coverage of that big breaking news out of California. You have been looking at images at the scene here. This huge fire, 700 acres plus in the Pacific Palisades. This is an area that is right in around L.A. It's a little bit north of Santa Monica, if you're familiar with the L.A. geography. And look at this. Tons of smoke. You have something like 20,000 people who have been asked to leave their homes tonight. Not far from downtown Los Angeles, you have some 15,000 people who do not have power. And look at this. Stunning images coming into us with this windstorm that has been forecast. This is live here, I'm being told. A live image of Los Angeles. This forecast of this windstorm over the last 24, 48 hours. You've heard emergency officials saying they have been trying to get ready. They are working to open shelters for the thousands of people who have been evacuated here in L.A. I want to get now, as you look, another live shot here. You see that now. The sky is dark. That is not because it is getting dark. That is because of all the smoke that is blanketing the horizon in Los Angeles there. Those thick clouds that have now drifted over downtown L.A. You saw from our meteorologist there from our sister station at KNBC that they can see those clouds of smoke from the satellite, essentially, from the radar, basically. That's how they're able to track some of this here. We've got teams standing by, not just our colleagues at our KNBC station out in L.A. Jacob Soboroff is there. Bill Karins is standing by. But I want to start with Chase Cain, who has made his way on the ground. Chase, you're there. What are you seeing? Talk us through it.
Hallie, we're at a pretty famous, pretty well-known intersection. This is the Pacific Coast Highway and Sunset Boulevard, the famous Sunset Boulevard. I'm going to step out of the way and show you kind of what's going on here because you can see that thick black smoke that you're referencing just on the ridgeline. We've actually seen in some of these apartment and condo buildings here on the hillside, we've actually seen flames popping up. I had to make my way on foot down Sunset Boulevard to get to the rest of my crew here. And as I was walking down Sunset Boulevard, there were several dozen cars which had to just be abandoned on Sunset Boulevard because one of those embers was picked up by these really strong winds, came down and started a whole new fire. So firefighters and police were rushing to try and get people out of their cars. I mean, people were literally running down the sidewalk, Hallie, to try and get away from these incredibly fast-moving fires. I mean, you can see how even the smoke has picked up and has gotten thicker as it's blowing toward us right now. Firefighters are doing their best, but in conditions like this, it's virtually impossible for them to stop a fire like this. The fire officials here say that nearly 800 acres have already burned. This is a densely populated area for anyone that knows this part of Los Angeles. Santa Monica is within eyesight. Malibu is also just right up the road. Again, we are in Pacific Palisades, not far from where the Palisades fire is moving toward. The Getty Villa is also just up the road. Firefighters are kind of spreading out. They only have about 250 of them so far, they say, Hallie. So they're doing their best with what they have, but they are calling in more resources to try and get a handle on things as, again, this fire is moving into and potentially, well, as we're seeing this dark black smoke right now, potentially even burning more of these buildings here, Hallie.
Do we know yet, Chase, if firefighters, we've talked about how this has exploded in size, right? It went from a couple hundred acres. We are now tonight at something like 770 acres. Do they have a handle on it? Is the wind preventing that from happening? Like, what do we know about that piece of it?
Yeah, I mean, you can probably just see how, like, these wind gusts are pretty strong.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this black smoke that's rolling in right now, Hallie. I mean, yeah, it's just, it's kind of impossible. I mean, you know, they haven't even been able to fly helicopters and planes like they typically would because these winds are so strong. So really the thing that they're doing at this moment is they're just trying to get people out of the way. There are mandatory evacuations in place. Before we even got to the worst part of the fire here closer to the beach, I mean, there were people who had suitcases, Hallie. They were just walking down the sidewalk as quickly as they can with suitcases trying to get, and they're with my helmet. That's how strong these winds are, Hallie. That they're just trying to get whatever they can out of the way.
That just is the wind taking your helmet off. Chase, give me a beat. I'm going to let you go. Get your helmet. That's critical. Go do that. I want you to stay with me in my ear if you can. I'm going to pull up the pictures live. I'm going to ask our director, Darren, to do that so Chase can go get his safety equipment, which he needs to have on to be able to do that live shot. As we're taking a look now, again, left side of your screen, these are, again, live images here. I'm going to ask my control room if we know specifically where this is from. I think this might be one of our KNBC live shots here. Yep, it's from KNBC, again, our station there. It is still the Palisades. You can see that fire truck out in front of what looks like a home. Obviously, listen, the camera shots are a little bit funky. That's because this is live breaking news here as L.A. Is dealing with this 700-plus acre fire. Is Chase back with us? Did he grab his helmet? Is he doing okay? All right, he's putting it on now.
Yeah. Hey, Hallie, I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Yeah, I got you, Chase. Go ahead.
Yeah, doing our best.
All right, we've lost Chase's shot. Let me go back to the left side of your screen. I think we saw Karma Dickerson there from our KNBC station. And her shot even is also a little bit crazy there because, as you can see, these firefighters now trying to put out flames. Now, Karma is one of our reporters who is at KNBC. Within maybe the last half an hour, she was standing out in front of a house. I mean, look at this. You see it here that had caught fire. The firefighters were working to try to get a handle on that. Here is the image. I think this may be Karma Dickerson's live shot there from our affiliate KNBC. She has stepped out of the way there. Just so people know, as you're looking at this, obviously all of our crews take the utmost safety precautions. There is a whole procedure and process in place. These are experienced teams covering wildfires. It is not unfamiliar in Southern California. Let me tell you, having lived out there, having worked out there, you cover wildfires a lot. That's a part of the beat. But something like this in the Palisades, I want to see if Bill Karins is available. I think it might be helpful for folks to see a map of what we're talking about here. If you don't know the L.A. area, just to give you a sense of how close it is. I see Chase. I'm going to ask him to stand by. Bill, can you quickly just pull up a map, Bill Karins, to show us where we mean? This isn't out 45 miles away from downtown L.A. You know what I mean? This is just north of Santa Monica.
Yeah, so, Hallie, if the director pops up the map here. So this is the Pacific Palisades. You can see where Topanga Beach is located here once we pop that up. Weather 8's our source. And so here's Topanga Beach, and this is Casa Lamar, and this is where the fire is here. This is called the Highlands here, and this is the Pacific Palisades. Sunset Boulevard, Palisades drives down here, and then Sunset comes like this, and the Pacific Coast Highway is down here. Yep. The fire has started here and moved to the south. The winds are coming this direction, so they're pushing it towards the beach. It's like a hurricane practically right now. The winds are going to get worse overnight. Firefighters are, they're trying to do. We were watching Carmen Schott there, the KNBC reporter, and there was 2 firefighters with hoses on that house, and they have retreated, and that house is now lost. Just to give you an idea of just, it's impossible of what they're trying to go against right now. It's so dry, it is so windy that, containment's not even possible right now.
Bill, that's the shot. Just so people know, I mean, we were just looking at this a few minutes ago. I mean, and this is what we're seeing now. It's smoke. That's all it is, right? Black smoke.
Yeah, so this fire is going to go wherever it wants, Hallie. I mean, they were doing some airdrops earlier in the day. I haven't seen any planes in at least the last hour or two because the winds are starting to increase. They may have just said it's not safe. I know the helicopters can't fly. We're not seeing aerials from our NBC station in L.A. because they don't have permission to fly because the winds are well over 50 miles per hour, which is their criteria. So we're seeing a lot of ground shots here. And, yeah, that's the shot of that house that they're still spraying water on it. If you missed it earlier when we were doing the coverage, the firefighters actually went into this home, removed what looked like a grandfather clock, an antique, put it across the street. They grabbed photo albums. So these firefighters almost knew that it was almost hopeless to try to save this, but they wanted to save something for the homeowners. And there's so many heroic things that are happening out there right now.
We're watching a woman. Yeah. Leah, let me just, I think this is Chase Cain's live shot. I'm going to ask our control room to direct me on that front. It looks like it's somebody in a wheelchair being pushed by somebody else, being directed. Chase, can you tell us what's going on?
Yeah, hey, Hallie, this is, again, this is the kind of situation where you see here, this is a Los Angeles parking enforcement officer. This is, that's showing you that this is truly an all-hands-on-deck situation. They're trying to help these 2 ladies who are clearly trying to get out of harm's way. I don't want to interfere with them in case they're giving her care at this moment, but, I mean, this is the kind of situation when I was describing just a moment ago that people are coming down the sidewalks with suitcases, sometimes with, just, I saw one lady that had just a couple of photos under her arm, where people didn't have time. I mean, you can see how quickly this fire is spreading, how strong these winds are. I mean, the plumes of black smoke are just billowing over us right now, Hallie, which, it shows that some of the homes and some of the apartment and condo buildings that are here on this hillside at Sunset and the Pacific Coast Highway, that more of those buildings are burning. Fire officials said that, yes, multiple homes, multiple structures have burned. They don't know how many yet. They have reports of injuries. They don't know how many people may have been hurt because they're really just trying to get a handle on everything, Hallie.
Chase, I'm going to ask you to stand by. I want to go to Jacob Soboroff now, who's standing by for us. Jacob, I know you're getting ready to head out to get on the ground a little bit closer to where things are happening. Listen, give us some context, right? I think it was last month, it was Pepperdine that had that pretty intense fire. That's further out in Malibu. This is closer to L.A. You know this area well. You were telling us just 25 minutes ago, you were born and raised in the Pacific Palisades. Talk us through what people watching around the country should know.
Where Chase is right now, Hallie, is at the, as he said, the intersection of Pacific Coast Highway and Sunset Boulevard. And the fact, to me, what sticks out is that the fact that the flames have moved from the areas that you're watching on your screen right at this moment, in the Palisades Highlands, up Bienvenida Avenue, up in the Santa Monica Mountains, down to the corner of Sunset Boulevard and Pacific Coast Highway, those flames have literally, it's not an exaggeration to say, those flames have literally traveled miles from the place where they started this morning down to literally to the Pacific Ocean, where Chase is. That parking lot is the famous Gladstone's restaurant. It's a famous surf spot as well, the Sunset Surf Spot right there. Governor Gavin Newsom has arrived on the scene in Southern California. He's going to be briefing people from what is called Will Rogers State Beach down at the bottom of Pacific Coast Highway there. As you travel Pacific Coast Highway from Malibu to Santa Monica, there's several main thoroughfares and intersections that you'll pass through. One, right here, what you're looking at is the bluffs in Pacific Palisades from Pacific Coast Highway from Will Rogers Beach, where the governor will likely be briefing in just a minute. You travel from Malibu, you'll pass Temescal, you'll pass the Sunset Boulevard intersection where Chase is. You will pass Temescal Canyon, and then you get to an intersection called Chautauqua. That whole area of Pacific Palisades is under a mandatory evacuation order right now. There's not only Pacific Palisades High School at the top of Temescal Canyon at Sunset Boulevard that has been evacuated, Marquez Elementary School, Palisades Charter Elementary School. There's the Kehilat Israel Synagogue that is along Sunset Boulevard in that area. And as you were hearing from some of the reports earlier, there have been cars that have been abandoned all along not just Sunset Boulevard, but Palisades Drive coming down from the Palisades Highlands where thousands of people live. And as they evacuated, scenes like you're seeing on your screen right now, many people could not get out in time, so they got out of their vehicles and started walking. I've seen other reports and other networks here in Southern California that literally bulldozers are being put to use in the streets right now to push cars out of the way so the first responders can make their way to the scene. As I said to you earlier, this is a life-threatening situation, not just for the people in this area, but throughout large swaths of Southern California. You do not see winds like this. And when you see fires in Southern California, you mentioned the fire near Pepperdine and Malibu, generally they are in the less populated, more mountainous parts of Southern California. You do see occasionally fires that ravage these buildings and these homes, but not like this, not in a place where there's 23,000 people living in one of the larger neighborhoods in not just the county of Los Angeles, but right in the middle of the city of Los Angeles, Hallie.
It's staggering to see and to think about. Jacob Soboroff, thank you. I'm going to let you and your crew get in the car, make your way out there. We'll check back in with you later on tonight as this continues to develop. Sobo, thank you. I got to tell you, we have moved Chase Cain now. I'm not sure if that's his shot we're looking at on the left side of your screen. It is a different shot because Chase and his team are moving to a safer location. Let me just pull back the curtain a little bit to give you a sense of what's happening here. We are getting feeds in from a number of stations and partners across Southern California. These are live pictures coming in. Look at that. You should be seeing sky on the left-hand side of your screen. Instead, you just see smoke. Same in the bottom right corner. Another live shot there as we're taking a look here at what we're seeing right now in Southern California. In just about 15 minutes, stay with us because we expect to see the fire department deliver a briefing on where things stand, the status of this fire. That's coming up in just about 15 minutes from now. We will carry that live so that you are up to date. And here we are again, back at that live shot that we were looking at previously. We saw these images of a woman being wheeled in her wheelchair towards helpers, basically. It was a traffic enforcement officer. You see that she is now getting aid from other emergency responders who are out there. I can't tell if Chase hears us and can talk with us or if he's working to get his IFB in. So let me let him do his thing there. He cannot hear us at the moment. We've also got Bill Karins, who's been tracking this, in addition to our partners at KNBC, who are continuing to follow all of this. Just to remind you by the numbers here, 770 acres burn in this very populated area. As you heard Jacob Soboroff, born and raised, by the way, in the Palisades, talking about here. A lot of people live here. 20,000 of them plus have been asked to leave, to evacuate. They had to do so very quickly. We have heard eyewitness accounts of people saying that they were throwing things in bags, getting out. One woman says she wished she had left just 10 minutes earlier because it was so difficult to get out. At this point, some 15,000 people do not have power. All of it, of course, triggered by this windstorm that Southern California is dealing with. Shelters have begun opening as well.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.